Now, there's one story in Australian cricket that continues to snowball, and that pertains to Mitch Johnson and David Warner, the two gentlemen that you see on the screen right now. There's been a lot that's been said, particularly from Mitchell Johnson, and now we've seen to have the answer to what exactly and where exactly did it all start. There's been stories doing the rounds as to how there's been a little bit of history between David Warner's wife and Mitch Johnson in the past. But it is a column that Mitch Johnson wrote, and we here at Sports Today have done a video on that as well. We did it yesterday. Check that out in case you're joining us right now, and in case you're looking for more context. I'll still, before we try and tell you what exactly happened over here and why is it that Mitch Johnson has had such harsh things to say about David Warner ahead of his swan song, or ahead of his last match that we're looking at, which will be played in Sydney next year. We know that is going to be David Warner's last match. Now, what exactly has sparked this? We'll tell you about that, and it is, it is a text message. What the contents of those text message were, we're going to tell you in just a bit. But it turns out that it's that one message from David Warner that irked Mitchell Johnson, which is why he's had some rather harsh things to say about the left-handed opening batter. Now, before we go ahead and do that, let's also tell you that Mitch Johnson, by the way, didn't spare any sort of he didn't spare David Warner on any front or on any count, let's say, because he went ahead and even questioned why is it that we're celebrating and giving him a hero sort of a send-off when he continues to go out with a leadership ban on him. And he questioned his place in the side as well, because David Warner has not really been amongst the runs of late in Test cricket. So those have been the reasons why David Warner has been questioned by Mitch Johnson. By the way, we've not heard anything from David Warner, but we've got something from his camp, let's say, because his manager has now reacted to the column that Mitchell Johnson wrote, and his manager very simply said that you've got to hope, and it's good in many ways that that Mitch Johnson, by the way, isn't a selector at the end of the day, because he questioned David Warner's place in the starting 11 as far as Australia are concerned. So that's the only reaction. We've not heard anything from David Warner. We've not heard anything from his wife. His manager, though, has said that thankfully Mitch Johnson isn't a selector, because, like I said, he also questioned his place in the side. Not the first time, by the way, that Johnson's questioned somebody's place in the side. He's done that in the past as well, I can tell you. Now, quickly, let's lift the lid over here and tell you what exactly it is that sparked this whole thing and prompted Mitchell Johnson to lash out at David Warner and come up with this scathing attack on him. He said that I got a message from Dave which was quite personal. It was never a personal thing then until this point. So clearly it's that message that he got from David Warner that really irked Mitchell Johnson. What exactly he said in that, we don't quite know, but let's try and tell you what exactly Mitch Johnson has said that miffed him to the extent that he's been absolutely scathing in his attack towards David Warner. He then goes on to say that this is probably what drove me to write the article as well. Part of it definitely was a factor. So he admits that it is that text message that prompted him to put out that column. He then goes on to say that there was some stuff in there that was extremely disappointing, what he said, and pretty bad, to be honest. So rather personal what has happened between the two of them, and clearly it's not gone down well with Mitch Johnson, which is why he's been very unsparing, and which is why he's been very, very critical of David Warner, the kind of send-off that's been planned for him, and the kind of fanfare that he's getting right now, the attention from the media, the attention from the fans, from Cricket Australia. Everyone's talking about David Warner. Let's not forget, he's a recently crowned champion as well for the second time, remember, and he's been talked about as one of the Australian greats. But Mitch Johnson doesn't quite agree. He says that, with regards to his role in the 2018 Sandpaper Gate instance, he doesn't deserve the kind of send-off that he's getting, and he doesn't deserve to be talked in the same breath as you talk, or rather he prays on some of the Australian legends, and there's no way you should actually be giving the kind of treatment that you are giving to David Warner at the moment. So those are the thoughts of Mitch Johnson, but he told you exactly exactly what sparked him and has led to this whole incident in Australian cricket, and it's this text message from David Warner that perhaps is to be blamed.